On Tuesday, Treasurer Tim Pallas will bring down his 9th state budget. And the government's been spending a fair bit of time laying the groundwork for what it says will be a budget containing some very tough decisions. Here's where the main problem lies: Victoria's net debt. In the 1990s, when the state's debt was rising towards $20 billion, the Kennett government sold off assets like electricity, gas and water and public transport to get it back under control, and it stayed low for more than a decade. But by 2017, debt was on the rise again, as the Andrews government borrowed big to fund infrastructure projects which have blown out in cost and time. When COVID hit, debt was already at $44 billion. It's now more than $116 billion and forecast to keep going up. $134 billion next year, all the way up to an eye-watering $166 billion in 2026.
We borrowed money in order to keep Victorians at work, to keep small business thriving and, of course, to save lives. But now is the time to commence the payback.
So there'll be some bitter medicine for Victoria in this budget to repay the billions racked up during the pandemic. There'll be cuts to the public sector and services. The Parliamentary Budget Office has identified 372 government programs which are funded until the end of this financial year in the education sector, road maintenance, hospital services, domestic violence and disability support.
Some of the programs that are being put on the chopping block as a result of the circumstances which this government has got us into will hurt the most vulnerable Victorians.
The state government's hit the pause button on a number of big infrastructure projects like the airport rail link and major road upgrades, while the federal government reviews them. Another big project, a fast rail service from Melbourne to Geelong, is also tipped to head into the deep freeze, but locals learnt long ago not to hold their breath on that one.
It's a promise of fast rail on a slow road to nowhere. The train between Melbourne and Geelong has seen a long line of politicians eager to get on board.
A 45-minute service from Geelong to Melbourne.
A half-hour rail trip between Geelong and Melbourne.
Much improved travel times between Geelong and Melbourne.
European-style high-speed rail network.
But the 80-kilometre trip from Victoria's second largest city to Melbourne still takes longer than it did nearly 100 years ago. The Geelong Flyer steam train rattled up and down the line from 1926, taking about an hour. 70 years on, Geelong's population has almost quadrupled. The line now takes in the massive growth areas in Melbourne's west, and the trip still takes over an hour.
I'm at Geelong Station and it's about 7:20 a.m. and already the car park is chaos. I'm aiming to get the 7:34 train, which should leave in roughly 10 minutes.
Train now boarding on 513 or 706, Melbourne Southern Cross service, timing in 5 minutes.
For many commuters on the state's busiest regional line, the prospect of a faster service is enticing.
It does need to be faster, yeah.
Yeah, faster would be good.
But capacity is also an issue. While it's not back to pre-pandemic levels, peak services are regularly full.
We're about half an hour in and every seat is taken.
Probably they can increase the number of trains during these peak hours. I know they are doing it for every 10 minutes, but there are regular cancellations as well which are happening.
While works continue to duplicate the line and remove level crossings south of Geelong, the joint federal-state Geelong fast rail project, which includes a new express track from Werribee to Laverton, has been put on hold.
I can't build that on my own. It's got to be a partnership, and the Commonwealth Government's decided to review it.
Transport experts say improving connectivity between the two cities is vital to limiting Melbourne's urban sprawl.
It allows both cities to be able to draw on a bigger pool of workers and to offer a bigger pool of services to a larger group of people.
Thanks for travelling with us this morning and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Okay, we made it. We're at Southern Cross and the trip took about an hour and 6 minutes. The steam train 70 years ago took 60 minutes, so it looks like the steam train is the winner.
The federal infrastructure review is due in August. Rachel Clayton, ABC News, Geelong.